The Nigerian-born international scammer and Instagram celebrity Ramon Abbas, also known as Hushpuppi, is still facing trial in the United States of America for advance fee fraud. Prior to his arrest and extradition to the U.S. last year, he was alleged to be the ringleader of a gang of fraudsters that facilitated computer intrusion, business email compromise, fraud, and money laundering from his base in Dubai. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, which had been on his trail for years, said his victims, mostly in the U.S., had been dupe of hundreds of millions of dollars. If convicted, Abbas could spend the next 20 years in the U.S. federal prison. We'll be getting the latest update on his last court appearance on Tuesday. From the head Judicial Human Rights and Anti-Corruption Desk of Premium Times, Ade Somoju, and popular blogger and social media commentator Dr. Kemi Olunloyo, who will be following the trial virtually. Welcome to the show, Kemi and Ade. Kemi, you could start first and just give us an update, and Ade will give us an update afterwards. And it's a pleasure to have both of you. Good morning.
Rufai, good morning. Thank you so much for having me on Arise. Yes. Good morning.
Morning. So, Kemi, you go first. An update of what is happening.
Basically, I broke the story last year when they arrested him that evening. And then there was a point when I started connecting with all the Dubai reporters at the Gulf Times. And a lot of them would give me information back and forth as an investigative journalist. Now, what I did basically was, I just stood by on what was going on. 12 people were arrested. And then I got a tip that they were going to America. But it wasn't all 12. Two of them, Olale Kankwanle Woodbury, another socialite on Instagram, and Hushpuppi. So I kept updating the fact that they are not even in Dubai anymore. Those two were in, America. And I was trying to really find out how they got them there, because UAE and Nigeria don't have UAE and America don't have extradition treaties. So I discovered they went by extraordinary rendition, and the two that went were Hushpuppi and Woodbury. Now, the bottom line is this. When they got to the United States, there were all kinds of accusation charges. Remember, Nigerians were still bent on the fact that they were in Dubai, and some of our local newspapers were actually reporting that they're going to be extradited. Hushpuppi was going to be extradited to Nigeria. So it's very hard when you're an independent journalist and you have a mainstream paper saying something else. People don't want to believe you. Okay, so when they got to America, they were transferred to MCC, Metropolitan Correction Center in Chicago. And while they held them there, they were putting the charges together, the FBI. I had sources in the FBI, I had sources in the United States Secret Service, and even the State Department. These crimes were a small internet syndicate that turned into an elaborate heist. That's how I describe it. One simple internet scam. When Yahoo started, you had all our young people on computers coercing people to give them passwords, to give them advance fees. My dad's a famous prince. He has oil, and I want to get it out, blah, blah, blah. But this is what they call serious internet scam, mostly BEC, business email compromise, where they hack into company computers, companies' emails, and they take out huge amounts of money. Now, talking about heist, how do you enter a company's whatever? They fish into it. The word is phishing, and I want to use this opportunity on Arise News to actually say it. It's phishing. Our young people call it phishing. Oh, let's do some phishing. It's phishing. They fish into the computers. When they enter the computers of these companies, they don't steal right away. They sit there for 2 to 3 weeks to monitor how the companies are getting their invoices out, how the CEO is ordering money from the finance department downstairs, and how everything is working. When they study it well, they now clone the website of the company. They get into the email, of these CEOs and these finance department and trick them into sending money. And one of the main cases in this Hushpuppi case was that of a law firm who was refunding $922,000 back to their client. Their client refinanced a piece of real estate, and they were getting that money back. The paralegal, in the documents that the FBI put together, the paralegal, KC, is her initial. She was tricked into sending that money to a bank account, a Chase bank account, which actually belonged to Hushpuppi and not the client. $100 million from a Premier League soccer club. The FBI wouldn't tell us which one it is. I have people working in the FBI, and I have FBI sources who will tell me things. Kemi, don't mention my name. So putting all the sources in the FBI and the Secret Service, the United States Secret Service, broke the part of the story that had to do with the COVID ventilators. There were two people in this scam that orchestrated it. A Canadian-American called Galeb Alomari, and the second person was Hushpuppi. Galeb was the one doing all the hacking with his boys. He had all kinds of Romanian hackers, North Korean hackers working for him. And Hushpuppi was the one moving the money, laundering it with a lot of Nigerian young men working in his house. There was a room where they took 129 laptops and 47 phones. So they were doing the money part. He was doing the hacking part. Now, there was a point in which one of our OAPs here, Daddy Freeze, visited Dubai. And last year, he used that opportunity to visit Hushpuppi and wanted a tour of that house. So while they were eating dinner, if you go back to that video, you'll notice a part where Hushpuppi actually got up to go away into the room to make a phone call. That phone call, the FBI played it to us. Okay, left Freeze in the dining table, but he went to make that phone call. What's up, bro? That's Hushpuppi. Alomari, I'm on the plane. We're about to land. The signal is poor. 922,000 came in. Okay, big money came. Okay. He said, okay, send me the screenshot. Okay, when I get to the terminal, the plane will, when the plane gets to the terminal, the signal is back, the network.
Okay.
So Hushpuppi wanted the screenshot. So as Alomari got out of the plane, the FBI caught him, and that was the end of it. Now, when they caught Alomari, was it Alomari that outed Hushpuppi? Possibly. But also, Alomari's boys just got out $100 million from the COVID ventilator money.
All right, Madam Kemi, let me just tell you to hold on there, and we'll come back to you shortly. Let's bring in Ade Shumoju into this conversation as well. Thank you so much for joining us. As you have heard, and as we know, to a large extent, these were massive, sophisticated scams. But it would seem a dispute between members of the syndicate was their undoing. What exactly do we know about that dispute? How was all of this busted?
Like Kemi has done justice to the facts leading to the case. Nigerians were, Hushpuppi has been a figure many Nigerians, particularly the youth, have been looking up to. People wanted to be like him. He attributes his successes in businesses to hard work and the grace of God and all of that. So he was a sort of a role model. And when, Kemi laid out, when the facts came, and the stories, came out, and Nigerians were really wanted to know what was really going on, and because of that, Premium Times devoted a lot of resources and human capital, monitoring the development, especially at the point where it got to court. You see, we cannot but emphasize at this stage how sophisticated the crime Hushpuppi was caught in is a transnational network of criminals. Yes, hacking into emails across the world, duping people of millions of dollars. As it is today, about $25 million have been linked to Hushpuppi alone. So, but you see the sophisticated crime being matched with sophisticated law enforcement and the judiciary. Hushpuppi was arrested in Dubai in June. By June 25, a charge was already pending in the U.S. And like Kemi said, he was actually expelled. There was no extradition law between the U.S. and Dubai. So he was expelled from Dubai and handed over to the FBI and brought to the U.S. By July 2, he landed in the U.S. And by August 1 or 2, he was already in court, pleading guilty. And along the line, other crimes have been unraveled involving him. And, to tell you how, where law is certain, law enforcement are efficient, things are, clockwork efficient. You see that by January, when he pleaded guilty in August, by January, he changed his lawyer. In February, he changed his lawyer. And in fact, we were already preparing for the trial. He changed his lawyer in February, and the lawyer, that's Louis Shapiro, sometimes in March, wrote the court and asking for the date to be shifted from May to July, which was yesterday. Along the line, the U.S. government applied to the court to allow them to have some pieces of information on the documents to be handed over to the defense, redacted, so that it will, the names of co-conspirators that had yet to be arrested, identities, addresses, and all of that technical strategy deployed in prosecuting the case will also be shielded from the public. And that order was granted. So we were all expecting for trial yesterday when we saw this. So that is where we are. And as you go through the plea agreement he had with the United States government, he will be pleading guilty at a time to be fixed, because he will still be brought to court to officially plead guilty, to change his former not guilty plea to guilty. And after then, there will be a sentencing hearing. So I think that is where we are currently.
Well, Ade, thank you very much for those details. But two quick things. How did Premium Times manage to focus so much attention on that story without necessarily being on the ground in the United States? Maybe there's something you can tell us about that. But more importantly, Premium Times has a story about the plea bargain that Hushpuppi has entered into. If you could also help us outline the details of that plea bargain.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Bati. Of course, Hushpuppi, the kinds of Hushpuppi around the world, Nigerians, young Nigerians like him, we have many Nigerians doing well all across the world, but we also have a few of them who are actually giving Nigeria the bad name that people are quick to remember. When Hushpuppi was arrested, it was a mixed feeling here. Some people saw, considered the kind of influence that he commanded. Many Nigerians actually was saying, some were even saying they were lying against him. So it was an issue of public interest, and Premium Times, as we are known for, saw it as an issue that we need to really highlight, focus on, to really tell the world, to tell Nigerians what really happened, how bad this guy has done to our image as a country. So we deploy resources, we deploy focused attention. We had a network of journalists that we worked with, getting documents to have an accurate reporting on all the issues, blow by blow, up to what we had yesterday. Yes, talking about the plea bargain, I think one other thing that jumps out when I was reading to the document yesterday was how the judiciary, the law enforcement, the diligence, the sophistication, the dedication, and the resources they actually put in combating crimes. This is a crime that was described by the FBI as one of their most difficult form of cybercrime. The FBI said in 2019 alone, there was